Hello, my name is Stephanie, and I'm delighted to introduce this teacher interview series. We're really lucky to have heard from four great teachers. We've got Abby from South Africa, we've got James from the UK, we've got Holly from the UK, and we've got Jake from the US. They will be sharing with you their various experiences of teaching in Shenzhen and with TLE. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or the TLE team. We'd be delighted to help and support you in your journey to considering teaching in China. Okay, lovely. So, thanks ever so much, Holly, for your time today. And I look forward to hearing about your experiences living, working, teaching in Shenzhen. So to start things off with, could you give me a very brief introduction to yourself? You might want to talk about your education background, where you're from, etc.
Okay. Hi, I'm Holly. I'm 21. I'm from the UK, and I actually trained to be a primary school teacher, and now I'm in China.
And where are you originally from? What did you study for your degree in the UK?
So I'm originally from Leicester, which is just like in the middle part of the UK, just like a average small city. And I trained to become a primary school teacher. So I did primary education for 3 years.
Ah, fantastic. And did you graduate recently, or was that a couple of years ago now?
So I'm actually supposed to graduate on Friday, but you can actually push graduation back for a couple of years. So I plan to stay in China for 2 years. So I pushed back my graduation for in 2 years instead.
Oh, okay. So you literally only finished university in July, then you finished your degree.
Yes, which is crazy.
Yeah. And what, you've trained to become a primary school teacher. So I guess what most of your class will have done is go on to primary roles in the UK. So what was it that attracted you particularly to China and to Shenzhen actually? What was your sort of, motivation?
Overall, I'd say I wanted like a big change. I've never really traveled very far before. Like I'd stayed very like local, like European. The furthest I've really been is like around Spain. So yes, a bit of a slight difference between Spain and China, just like about 9 hours on a plane or so. And I really love teaching. So I wanted a new challenge where I'm teaching children who can't even speak English. I thought, why not challenge myself, try something new?
And what was it in particular about China that attracted you? Because there's lots of countries, particularly if you're a qualified teacher, that you can go and teach in. So there must have been something that sort of drew you towards Shenzhen and China.
I wanted like to go somewhere completely different from the UK, and I've always had like a little bit of an interest in like China and Chinese culture. So I thought, what's the best way to actually learn about that? Just like come to China. It makes no sense.
So you had that sort of pre-existing interest anyway then. Yeah.
Yes.
And what were your expectations like of Shenzhen, and how has, the city sort of lived up to those expectations?
I actually tried to go in with like no expectations just because I didn't want to like be disappointed sort of thing. Like I didn't know what I was walking into as much. I knew Shenzhen was a really new city, and I knew it was very technologically advanced. So I knew like a little bit. But even though I had no expectations, I was still so surprised when I moved here. It wasn't exactly what I expected, but in a good way.
And how has it surprised you? A lot of people, particularly in the UK, have never really heard of Shenzhen apart from maybe tech companies. So, yeah, what is the city like, as a British person?
Yeah, I would say I was surprised because I thought it would be a lot more built up. Like some parts are very much city, but there's like so the city itself is so big that you can get a bit of everything wherever you go. And
Mm.
I'd say as an English person, it was just like very it's strange. Like some parts are like a bit like a British city, but
Mm.
some parts are just completely different, but like in a good way.
Yeah, and it's very big, isn't it, as well, compared to what we're used to. So is that taking
Absolutely.
getting used to getting around, or is that all been okay for you?
That's been probably the hardest thing because like I'm not very good directionally or like remembering where places are. So because it's so big, like trying to remember where each area is and how to get there on the metro and things like this, it's a little bit complicated, but I kind of enjoy it in a weird way.
Yeah, so you've got there eventually. Then you feel a bit more familiar with things now.
I like to think. I like to think.
And what do you like doing in Shenzhen? So I know that, of course, you're working. It's not holiday, but yeah, when you are on your days off, your holidays, your evenings, what do you like? And what is there to do in Shenzhen?
There's just like too much to do, to be honest. There's lots of things I've had a list. There are still things I haven't done, which is like, oh, I need to get that done soon. But I really, really like the sea and just like water, that sort of thing. So I actually live quite close to like a beach promenade. So if I've got any free time, I'll go walking there. I have made some friends in my local area, so we'll walk together, like maybe grab some food. Also, there's like a beach you can go to here, which is amazing because I've always lived somewhere very landlocked. So
Mm.
living near the beach is a real like a surprise for me. And the nightlife here is really good as well. So I've got a bit of everything going on.
Oh, fantastic! And which part of the city are you in? If you're near the beach, then?
So I'm not actually close to the beach, but I am close to the
Ah,
promenade for the sea. I'm kind of close. Shenzhen is so big, so I guess I'm kind of close to the beach, but you have to sit on a metro for around an hour and a half.
oh, okay, okay. So you're in one of the more central districts then.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. And how did you find the process of moving to China? And do you feel like you got a lot of support through that process? Was it something that wasn't too daunting?
You know what, TLE helped me through absolutely everything, but I still feel that moving to a foreign country for the first time, it doesn't matter, it's always going to be daunting, but they definitely alleviated my stress. I was feeling like more comfortable than I would have been maybe if I was with another agency who weren't as caring and trying to support me as much as possible.
What sort of things have they done for you? What sort of support have they given? Because I guess it's quite different even to what you would get at university or definitely as a young adult in the UK. So yeah, what have they helped you with?
Just completely different from university, to be honest, but just like support with like applying for my visa and helping me with booking flights, and also they got me my interviews for my school, so I interviewed with 4 different schools. So I actually got to learn a little bit about the schools before I went to Shenzhen, and I was able to get my job through those interviews. So that was just like a big tick in the box, to be fair.
Yeah, and how did you choose that particular school and role? Because again, you're going in relatively blind. Had it been a UK school, you would have done your placements, you would have been through the system yourself. So, what was it about that school that made you think actually that's a good fit for me?
I think it's my supervisor at my school. She was the one who conducted the interview. She was so friendly and it was just so warm. Like I could, even though it was over like a Zoom meeting, I could feel her warmth, and she seemed like such a lovely person. She was telling me about the school and everything she was saying. It seemed like it would suit me. I like working in a team, so I work with 2 other teachers pretty much all day, which is great. And I prefer working with younger children, so it's pretty much just straight the way I like this school.
Ah, fantastic. So it was a good experience for you doing those interviews and being able to kind of compare things as well.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And just to jump back to your experience of, your journey to literally to getting to China, what was your first week like, and how was the sort of apartment hunting? How was that process for you?
It was a good first week, but I can think about it and I can still feel the jet lag, which is so
Mm,
funny. I like think about it. It was such a good week, but I was also like, oh my goodness, I was so jet lagged. I've never had jet lag before. So I was like, oh, not
tired.
so good.
Yeah.
But everything we did training was really good. I got to meet other people who were in the same agency, who were also with TLE, and we all still actually talk to each other.
Mm,
So that's really nice. So I got to instantly meet, like, I make friends with people, and I met people who I had lots in common with. A lot
mm,
of them were from the UK as well, so that was really lovely. But apartment hunting, it was so easy
mm.
because TLE, they have a really nice lady called Cece who just completely helped me with everything. She like sent me lots of options. We went and did viewings, and then when I found this apartment, I was just instantly like, I want this one.
And why did you choose that apartment? Is it modern, nice, well located?
I really like the location. I really like where I live. There's loads of restaurants. I quite like a busy atmosphere. So
Mm,
I was like, oh, perfect. And also, a lot of people who live here are around my age group. It's used kind of like as university accommodation. So
mm.
I was like, oh, like it'll be nice. I can meet people around my age. And I have actually made friends with my neighbors. So
Ah,
that has been really nice. And also, it had a patio, and I really like having an outdoor space. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to take this on.
oh, fantastic, fantastic. And how have you found the cost of it compared to the UK? Obviously, in the UK as well, apartments vary depending on where you're living. But have you found the cost of renting and bills and what have you affordable in line with your salary?
Very affordable, especially compared to the UK. It's quite easy between yuan and pounds. There's about 10%, give or take 10%. So every time I'm paying for something, I always divide it by 10. And then I'm like, whoa, all the time to buy 10, whoa, that's crazy. But it's perfectly fine with what I'm being paid. It's very average, I'd say.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned there about things generally being cheap. So, of course, UK generally is pretty expensive in terms of cost of living, just for general things. We have to get used to
Mm.
budgeting and what have you. So, how have you found the cost of living in Shenzhen as a British person, and what can you tell us about it?
I would just say it's just ridiculous, the price difference in the best way possible. Oh my god, just the way this country's set up is so much better. You can order anything in, and the cost of it is like nothing. If I want to get a takeaway in the UK, if I ordered off of Uber Eats or something, it can be like £25 for one person easily, which is crazy. But here it's just like so cheap. And they have deals on for everything. I look like TLE set up a bunch of apps for me, like Taobao, Meituan. I use them for everything. I always say to people, when I go back to England, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shock to not have all those, convenience type things. What sort of things are you able to order? Because I think a lot of people, again, from the UK almost can't, like you, wouldn't be able to imagine the sort of things that are at your fingertips in China. So, what sort of things are we talking about here, Holly?
It was really badly raining one day, so I just ordered in an umbrella.
Oh, really?
I didn't
Really?
have an umbrella. So I went on One, ordered myself an umbrella, and it just came within 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness, that is a real flex right there. Can you imagine doing that in the UK? The best you'd get is maybe next day delivery. But
It's so weird though. It's weird because I still can't get my head around it. I wasn't feeling very well one day. I ordered in medication. It came within 20 minutes. I
wow.
can just get anything.
Yes,
Really
very.
ridiculous.
Yeah, very, very convenient. Is that one of the, I mean, I'm sure there's many things you like about living in China, living in Shenzhen, but is that one of the key ones? Are there any other sort of really big points that, you really love about China?
I would just say life just feels easy here. It
Mm,
just feels like the way the country's set up, everything is just so easy, so convenient. It feels like everything is so advanced. Like I will see things and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Why would we not have that in England, sort of thing? With
mm,
lots of different things, like there's bikes that you can hire anywhere. You scan a QR code, you can hire the bike and just leave it somewhere else, and
mm,
you can use it it will charge you onto your WeChat. WeChat is the best thing I've
mm.
ever seen in my life. I love WeChat. You can use it for everything. It's just, I love it.
Yeah, it's again, I think, we almost couldn't comprehend unless we used it how many
Mm.
things it's able to do, I guess. And yeah, that's affordable. Moving on to your job then, Holly, because that is the reason that you're in Shenzhen. Tell us a bit more about your school that you work in, and I guess like the general setup of your role.
I absolutely love my school. It's it's just so different because I was teaching at public schools in the UK, and then I go to an international private Montessori kindergarten in China. So it's very different. And these kids are like the rich of the rich in
Mm,
Shenzhen.
mm,
So, wow, absolutely incredible. The school itself is set up in a Montessori way. So, in the morning, we have 2.5 hours of Montessori time. So, it's based around the kids basically doing their own individual activities. I
mm,
do English activities with the children. They can choose whatever they want to do. And I basically just do it with one-to-one children or in small groups of up to three.
mm,
I also do circle time. So, I do it with the whole class, and
mm.
I just basically do very basic English things. We have a new topic that we do every 2 weeks. So right now we're doing objects in the kitchen. So we'll just be like, oh, this is a knife. Not like with an actual knife, but with a picture of a knife. And then in the afternoon, because the kids are quite young, some of the children they sleep. So then I do an afternoon English class with a mix of children from different classes. And then after that's finished, I go back to my classroom. I take them outside to play. We do snack, and then it's the end of the day. So it's just a very simple routine.
And do you feel like you have enough time for the kind of planning and admin side of things?
I'd probably say that's the one thing
Mm,
that I probably don't.
mm,
I love the school. That's the one thing that I'm like, oh, maybe not so good. But also, I was having it a lot worse in England. So I feel like it's probably like I have to go like this. I have to weigh it up and down a lot. I go, I had no time in the UK, but I had to do a lot more work. But here it's like, oh, I have no time. But if I do it in my own time, I can get it done. So
yeah,
it's not so
yeah.
bad.
Oh, that's interesting. And do you have to get involved in any sort of extracurricular activities in your school, Holly, or not? Not so much.
Yes. But
Okay.
I don't mind. I'm okay with it. I actually quite enjoy it. On Saturday, we have sports day. Me and the other English teachers, we have to do a dance for all the parents and children.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is this every Saturday or just more of a
Oh
sort
no, 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 no. Thank goodness.
of, oh,
Just this Saturday. But sometimes if we have extracurricular curricular activities, obviously the parents they've got quite important jobs. They're very busy. So they like to do extracurricular on Saturdays, which I'm okay with because it's once every 2 to 3 months we'll have something like this happen. Well, we've got all of the other weekends, so it's all
yeah.
right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking, oh gosh, sports day every Saturday sounds like a bit
Oh
much.
no, no.
Every now and then is a bit more manageable. Yeah. And, do you find it rewarding, the job that you've had? Do you find the teaching as rewarding as you did in the UK?
I'd probably say more so because the kids are so much younger. I can see their English develop in real time. Like my youngest child, who's just turned 3, he can speak to me. When I met him, he could only say words. now he can speak to me in full sentences, which is just crazy. I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I'd say I've gotten really lucky. I love my class teacher. I love my teacher assistant, and I absolutely adore the kids that I work with. So at the end of every day, I feel happy. I go home, I'm happy. I come to school in the morning. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to school today. That's great. I have no problem, which is just so nice.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. I'm not sure many people could say that about their jobs every day. So yeah, that's really, really, really lovely to hear. Thank you. Moving on to talk about, I suppose, your life outside of work, which of course is super important when you're living somewhere so different. How have you been able to make friends? So you mentioned that people in your apartment and that you've met some people via TLE. Are those the main ways, or how do you go about making friends in a sort of major international city?
I'd probably say you just have to, it sounds so silly, you just have to go outside. Like, so me and my other TLE co-workers at our school, that altogether there's 9 foreigner teachers. So we just asked them, we said, hey, where should we go? Where can we meet other expats, other foreigners? And they said, come out with us. And we ended up going out with them for a couple of drinks, meeting loads of other foreigners. Once you make friends with one, you make friends with all of them very easily. Like, I made friends with one girl and now I know 12 people and I'm friends with all of them.
So it's quite
It's
a
really,
network then. People are generally, in the expat community, they're generally quite connected.
absolutely, like my friend, he knows everyone in the entire expat community. It's kind of crazy, but once you know like about 7 people, you will know they all together, we will all know everyone. It's pretty funny. But there are a lot of us, but somehow we go to similar events, similar places. Most of us are foreigner teachers, so we meet each other at school and then we all just kind of like get together.
Oh, well, that's really nice to hear. So it's not been something that's been a struggle for you then?
Not at all. I was actually really worried when I came to China. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to find making friends with people. But I have a lot of foreigner friends, but I also have a lot of Chinese friends as well. So it's been a lot easier than I expected, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just to ask about some of their challenges. So, you know, moving to the other side of the world, it's exciting. You have had a lot of support from TLE, but have there been any challenges that you've had to sort of overcome, particularly during those first weeks, perhaps?
I'd probably say the biggest challenge was like technology because of the heat difference here in Shenzhen. My phone and computer just instantly broke. So I couldn't be in contact with my family. So that was really hard. And also getting access to a VPN that would actually work. I had ones installed on all of my devices. And when I got to China, none of them actually worked. So I couldn't contact my family. So it was very stressful for them because they couldn't contact me. And then my English SIM card wouldn't work. So I couldn't get into my email or anything. So I couldn't even email my family. So they were very worried because it was the first time I traveled alone and I was in China. So they didn't even know if I got into the border. So that was probably the most stressful thing. But apart from that, everything's been fine.
I mean, that were you able to kind of overcome that fairly promptly?
I'd say so. Like TLE, they helped me find someone to help me get a new phone. But my phone was somewhat working, but it's the heat just really, it just couldn't do it. I have a computer now, but the touch screen, like on the mouse, actually doesn't work because of the heat here.
Oh,
So I have to use
wow.
like a different mouse because when I got here, it's 35 to 38 degrees every day.
Oh,
So
bit of a shock for.
my phone was used to 10 degrees. So
Yeah, oh
it just
gosh.
didn't work.
just not something you expect, is it? It's probably just so used to life in England that it just couldn't cope.
Yeah, TLE helped me with everything, so I was relieved. One of the workers at the agency, she knew someone who sold iPhones, and I was like, perfect, I'll just buy a new one. I waited to get my first paycheck. I just spent all of my money on a phone straight away. Everything's been fine.
Oh, perfect, perfect. And then just to, I guess, sort of tie things up, Holly, what would you say to anyone in the UK or US, wherever, who's considering teaching in China, but maybe is a bit on the fence about it? What would you say to them about your experiences?
I'd say just go for it. We only have one life. You have to live it. If you don't take an opportunity like this, you're probably going to regret it for the rest of your life. Put all of those worries to the back of your mind. Come here, see if you like it. And I would say if you don't like it, you can always leave.
Yeah, good advice there. And as you say, nothing is permanent, is it?
No, exactly. If you really do get here and you feel maybe this isn't the right place for me, you can always leave. But there's a really high likelihood you're going to come here and you're going to absolutely love it. And it's going to be the perfect place for you. But you don't know until you come. That's the problem. You just got to go for things in life, Don't let it pass you by. You don't want to be 80 thinking about it. Oh, I should have gone to China, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think you'll be having many regrets from the sounds of things.
No, definitely not.
Decisions. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share just a little bit more about your experiences with us today. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.